Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Today's upload is going to be just a weather video on the updated forecast that is what's going to be going on in the the country's weather, and I will just be updating you guys on this. So semi-long range, just mainly a update video, and the main thing I will be focusing on in this video is the cold front that will be associated with a strong system that is right now producing very strong storms in the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, parts of Iowa. I'll show you in a minute the radar. It is very concerning. These storms can train over areas, and I'll get to all the details in a minute. But this is a very typical early fall, late summer storm, a little bit stronger than usually wise, because usually these storms are more disorganized. But for a late fall or for an early fall, for an early fall storm, this is very well organized. And you may be wondering, why am I calling this early fall? Well, if you don't know, meteorologically, fall starts in about 4 days, September 1st. So, yeah, that is definitely almost here. So, before we get into this video, however, consider subscribing to my channel. Consider liking the video. You may be wondering why, if you haven't even got into the video. If you haven't watched this whole video, well then consider watching it. Consider checking on my channel. Consider checking out my other videos on my channel. I have plenty of them. And hopefully you will enjoy, and hopefully you will end up subscribing to my channel if it suits your needs. If you're an old returning member and you've been watching my videos for a long time and you're still not subscribed, then why not consider subscribing? It always helps out my channel. It's for free for you guys to do, and like I mentioned already, it helps out my channel immensely. So hopefully you will end up doing that. So let's start talking about this storm. So first off, you can see that there are several storms, one farther to the north in Canada and one farther to the south in Colorado. Sorry about that. And let's use my drawing tool so you can see this. Sorry about this. Okay, so this storm right here starts developing. Right now what we're seeing is these just flaring up across Wisconsin, Minnesota. I know that Wisconsin has had so much rain in the past couple of hours, in the past couple of days. The past 24 hours have been absolutely chaotic for Wisconsin and parts of the Midwest, northern Midwest especially, because due to the fact that these storms, like I said, will train over the same areas and produce a lot of flooding. Mainly when it comes to severity with these storms, it is mainly the wind that is the issue. Nothing really else. There could be some large hail, some maybe potentially tornadoes, but it's mainly the wind and the torrential rainfall. So those are the main two factors that we'll be watching. So right here we have this storm system developing. And you can see right there, it comes and goes, those waves. But this is where it really starts taking shape, right in here. And as we watch right here, let me take up my drawing tool, handy dandy pencil. Right here is basically where the low is sitting. And the warm front is somewhere right here, and the cold front is somewhere right here. And you can see that these two things start, shifting together. And right there, this moves on throughout the day. You can see the low moves on from that location right here. Let's close this for now. From this location right there up into the basically upper Michigan, into the UP Peninsula of Michigan. And along with this is a strong cold front. And these storms, this set of storms, these bands of rain will end up producing much cooler conditions behind it. You can see the high pressure takes over, and there will be some much chillier conditions with this. Some areas maybe not even reaching out of the 70s or even the 50s or 60s in some areas in upper Midwest. So you can see that goes off, and mainly doesn't affect the Northeast as much as it does the Midwest. So you can see Tuesday into Wednesday it will be a big dose of rain for cities like Chicago, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Kansas City, Moline, Illinois, Dubuque, Iowa, areas like that, the Quad Cities in Illinois and Iowa. Those will be definitely impacted by this. So that comes and goes. So I'll show you the temperature difference in a minute. But you can see again, there's going to be another little system towards Saturday, and that's actually September 1st now. So we're officially into fall. You can see another flare up of storms and systems that will be affecting parts of the Midwest. So again, it seems like the Midwest will be very wet from now on, very more wet period and season. And you can see that these storms, these big large storms, start to more develop and start to take on this fall-like characteristic rather than what we see in May, June, July, and even parts of early August. Even though right now it's late August, it is more towards fall rather than summer, as it would be rather towards the beginning of August, opposite, the other way around. And I also want to point out this storm right here. You can see some snow showers in the mountains. I won't be making videos specifically on that because that's just, there's just not much to talk about in terms of that. Yeah, there will be some couple of snow showers, maybe 1 to 3 inches in, say, Rocky Mountains, Yellowstone's Grand Tetons mountain range. Those areas could receive some snow, but again, you can see there's another system that starts developing right here across the Midwest, and it starts taking shape somewhere right along here. The warm front is somewhere centered like this, and the cold front is right along right here, right before this change of temperatures, right along that line right here somewhere. And these things start shifting towards, and you can see again another cold front, just a gorgeous example of a cold front right here. You can see this is a beautiful example. The low is situated further off into Canada, so it's right there somewhere like that. The warm front's further out there, and the cold front's just sagging way to the south. And you can see ahead of that cold front, or along associated with this cold front, is lots and lots of precip and moisture and some storms. So you can see this is definitely a fall characteristics. We're definitely heading into the fall season, and definitely there are going to be more of these systems, and soon enough you'll start seeing with these cold fronts, or after these cold fronts, some snow showers appearing in parts of the United States. I mean, it's September almost, and in October there's typically some snow already in parts of the upper Midwest. Even in September there's obviously snow in the mountains, but parts that are not really elevated areas, they could start seeing some snow. And now let's move to the temperatures, since that is a big deal in terms of this cold front. So let's go back to hour 0, which is right now. You can see this was during the night, the morning, and now look, very warm temperatures across much of the country for the next couple of days. But again, this cold front will pass through and produce cooler conditions. But earlier this weekend, today's a Monday, Saturday and Sunday were both really warm for much of the Midwest and Northeast and the plains, and this cold front will actually be much needed relief for a lot of people wanting cooler weather. So you can see right there, there's the system, and there's just the cold front. I mean, look at this, 83, almost 90s here in eastern Iowa, and in western Iowa 60s, and barely getting out of the 70s, or barely getting out of the 60s. So that is almost a 20-degree difference in temperature, in degrees wise, Fahrenheit wise. So this is definitely something that will be seen by people that are working outdoors, or maybe say you're in eastern Iowa in the evening, or you're in eastern Iowa, or not even eastern, let's say you're in western Iowa at night, in the morning, Monday evening today, and then tomorrow you step out in the morning and it's 70s, while the rest of the country is still baking. So you can see this cold front does lose some of its strength and power as it goes down, but you can still see that defined line right there of that cold air. These are just the winds are blowing from the northwest, blowing in some of that chillier air, it's fall air, while the rest of the country here towards the east, anywhere southeast of Chicago line to Kansas City line, is just warm temperatures. But then again, you can see it starts warming up again, and heads back into a warmer, more drier pattern. But then as we move on forward, you can see these temperatures are going to be fairly high, but you can see again these the below average or below freezing temperatures are starting to make a comeback in British Columbia, Alberta, Canada, areas like that, even down into the Rockies, through the Idaho, Montana, and into Wyoming. And you can see some of these nights are going to be fairly chilly, 42, 43, 41 here in the Arrowhead of Minnesota. So definitely some cooler conditions expected. Definitely this is September 9th, so you got to remember that fall is just around the corner in terms of speaking right now, but it will be around the corner and will be straight in front of your face in a couple of days. So whether you like it or not, we got to deal with it. And you can see later on the temperatures really cool down. I mean, look, if this is true according to GFS, 60s, 50s, and this is during the day, mind you. So not very much relief. Not very much warm air to look after September starts, really. I mean, they're obviously still supposed to be above average in terms of temperature, but you got to remember that the average does change over time. So if you go back to anomalies, or we go to anomalies, you can see it is cooler than average, but there will be more of a mix between warmer conditions and then cooler conditions, and it'll be just like an exchange of temperatures like that. And I also want to show you this change with this cold front right here, right now. So you can see this is basically where the cold front is, insanely below average conditions versus fairly above average conditions to the southeast, and you can see this just crosses over and does hang around for a little bit in the Midwest, but before again this just starts breaking apart and the warmer air starts rising in from the Gulf of Mexico. But you can see again another cooler shot of air is working its way down here, and it works its way down into it. So we may be seeing some cooler shots, more active pattern, and that is basically it for today's video. Actually, I wanted to talk about one more thing. I'd like to show you these storms that are happening in Iowa and in the Midwest right now. So you can see this is how it looks like right now. The Arrowhead of Minnesota, there's a cluster right here of thunderstorms, but the main event is going on here through basically central northern Minnesota, even just basically northern Minnesota, all the way down into northern Iowa, and especially right along here can some damaging winds and even possibly tornadoes form. So you can see the low is situated right there, and this is just moving right along here. These squall lines bringing some cooler air temporarily, but the main cold front behind here is summer along here, and will be sliding down through the days to come, and eventually making its way into the lower Midwest and into the southeast. So you can see the probabilities of tornado, hail, and wind. The wind is going to be the greatest. Wind is by far going to be the greatest due to the fact that these storms are just not going to be conducive to produce large hail or tornadoes. So that is basically it for today's video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully this wasn't too long. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Please consider liking the video. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next